Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Ocean Outlast Expert. I hope that everyone is doing great today. I know that I am. We're jumping right back on into things today. And first and foremost, I want to address the update that came around this mod pack. So a couple days ago, from when you guys are probably viewing this, a new update was pushed out for the mod pack with a whole slew of changes going on. Now there's not enough time for me to really go through everything, and honestly not everything is extremely interesting, but I figured I would go over a few key points. And if you were interested in learning more, you could always head over to the Discord for the mod pack and check out the full change log over there. So first and foremost, the thing that stuck out the most was probably the removal of Coral Tombstone. So this was the mod that when you died, a tombstone would hold all of your items for you. You would go back with a key, and then you could collect everything that you had, that you had lost, or that you had dropped because you had died, I should say. Now, it was a very essential aspect of dying in this game, in death, especially because this game is not easy on you, to say the least. It definitely is a harder mod pack. I mean, that's why it's called Expert. And to add to that point, in the change log, they even made it a point to note that deaths are going to be more penalizing now. So they don't go into specifics on how that's going to be accomplished, but they do say that it is not going to be easy anymore, even from that perspective. So removing Coral Tombstone and making deaths have a higher penalty to it. It just seems like things are going to get a lot more interesting as we move through the mod pack. Now, I do believe they added an additional mod that would somewhat counteract that removal. So they added in the corpse mod. I don't know if that's an exact one-for-one functionality or not. I honestly don't recall offhand, but it'll be interesting to see nonetheless. Another point I did want to touch on was they did nerf slightly our bonsai trees, or our bonsai pots, I should say. Don't really know how they would be nerfed, considering they weren't really overpowered to begin with. Maybe they just toned back how quickly they're producing items. But if we look through here, this is from me playing for a couple hours today. I've been trying to record an episode for several hours now, just playing. And this is everything that we have accumulated in here since we put this down. So it's not like that much, really. So it'd be interesting to know what exactly they nerfed, but I figured I'd let you guys know since we did put that up in the previous episode, I believe. The other additions and removals that they had, well, really, the removals weren't anything too crazy. Just a few different mods they removed out of there. Other than Coral Tombstone, you can check out the changelog for those. Some additions that they did add were compact drawers. So that's a cool addition to this, along with a few other mods as well. Obviously, they updated a whole bunch of existing mods like Ender.io and JEI, just to name a few. And then they did add in some additional quests and tinkered with some other ones. So let's hop into the quest book here to show you guys. So if we go to the very top, the introductory tab here, they added a nice new graphic for us to enjoy, which is really nice. I think they definitely put a lot of time into it. It looks nice. So it's cool to know that they obviously put a lot of effort into the mod pack, even just to add in a little graphic like that. It shows something really cool about the developers. On top of that, they did go through and listen to some of the suggestions that the community had, and even a few that you probably have seen here in the videos. So one of the things was our bed. We made a red bed, and the quest asked for a white one. Well, I talked with Kevin, the lead on the mod pack, and he actually updated it, so any color bed can now be used, which is awesome. They did go in, they added actually a quest for wooden shears. So just a good addition to have there if you're starting off, so you can go out and get some wool, or if you're trying to get some leaves, whatever it may be. It's a nice quest, additional quest in there. The other thing they did add was low-grade charcoal, which was, I think, actually recommended by Kevin himself to me, and I do recall utilizing that in what was it, Sevtech Ages. I utilized the low-grade charcoal. They did actually add another quest line for the bonsai here, which is pretty cool, but we've already progressed towards a hopping bonsai. So we'd have to make another base pot as it is, but that wouldn't be too hard to do. They actually added in a lamp here, which is kind of cool. It won't break. It won't break to things like water. Okay, so basically it's a torch, but it's not going to break on you like how a normal torch would when it's hit by water. Kind of cool. And then obviously they've moved things around here and just switched a few items up, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see that. They also added in 2 new chapters. So the chapters are here on the left-hand side. The first one is the occupation tab. So this has a few different things that you could have as your occupation. So you have hunter, adventurer, and scavenger, and obviously they've incorporated some treasure to mod aspects into this tab, which is pretty cool. And then the other one that they added in was woot. Honestly, I haven't dove too much into this mod, so I couldn't really tell you too much about it, but it's cool to see that it has a progression here. So that is pretty much everything around the update. I know there was a hotfix that did come out after the initial patch that did address a few items. But again, if you're more interested in the nitty-gritty details, head over to the modpack Discord and you can check them out all over there. So guys, with that being said, we're going to jump into the episode. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that little introduction there. I'm just going over a couple of notes from the change log for this most recent update to the mod pack. I did also forget to mention that the server for this mod pack is now out. You can find more information for that over on the Discord as well, and that's the Discord for this mod pack. But anywho, we're jumping on into things now. So first and foremost, the last episode we got cooking for blockheads up and going, so now we have a decent way, or at least a decent place, to get our food production in a good place, which is awesome. That's definitely extremely important for us to have. Now, I do want to address there is currently a glitch in the mod pack where hunger does not go down for some people. And I believe that my instance is actually in that scenario as well. For whatever reason, my hunger just does not decrease. I do keep food on me at all times just to be safe. But it is a known issue, so if you are having that issue, don't worry. Evan and his development team are working on it, so there should be a fix in the coming future for it. So what are we doing today? Well, I had mentioned in a previous episode that I wanted to get into environment tech or environmental tech. So based off of our introductory section here, the suggested goal is getting into environmental tech. You can't start right away, but you should have the knowledge to reach there by this point. Start looking at the environment tech chapter and start gathering resources, which is exactly what I've been doing. And I'm actually going to collect this because we do get a diamond block for it, which is awesome. And let's see, is there a good use for this? Can we, in some form or fashion, get better output from it? From smelting it up, we get 1. Yeah, smelting it just looks like 1. I don't think there's really another good way to create duplication. A sag mill would be pretty good, but I think for our purposes, just placing it and breaking it is going to be perfectly fine. Doesn't cause us to use any energy or anything like that. As you can see, I have been sifting a lot as well, getting a bunch of resources together, and that actually is based upon what we were reading just there. We don't have everything necessary just yet to get into environmental tech, but we can at least get our feet in the water for it. Now off camera, I did put together our digital guide, and I crafted up our first batch of Lithorite crystal. So if we come in here and we go to the environmental tech, so we have Lithorite here. In order to complete this, we have to get 16 Lithorite crystals, which, don't worry, by the time we get a little bit more progressed in the in this mod, we'll definitely have those accumulated and it'll be worthwhile at that point. The first thing that we're going to want to do is not the solar array. That will come later. Honestly, our first bet would be getting a void ore miner tier 1 up and going. Now, there are a lot of things that come along with doing this, and you do get a survival generator, a crate, and money from it. The only thing that we would want to keep an eye out for is that this does work off of a power from a grid, and right now our grid has 0 of 0 power to it. So I'm guessing it'll increase once we have that down. But if we take a look through what we need for these, I mean, realistically, if we go back into here, we need 24 and 20 of those, and then 2 of those. Now, some of these are pretty straightforward to make. So if we look at these laser cores, you just need some iron, you need some glass, and then these connectors. These connectors will be very common for us needing in this mod, especially getting started off. And they're just basically redstone and iron, which is not too bad to get from sifting. Now, the other things like this clear laser lens, really straightforward, that only takes glass. The void miner itself is probably the most expensive piece because you do need a laser lens. You do need these interconnects, 2 of them. You also need Lithorite bricks, which are pretty pricey considering 4 Lithorite comes at a cost of 1 diamond. Not even considering the flint as well as the dyes that you need as well to accompany those. You need a diode, which is pretty straightforward. And then the last piece of it is a block of diamond. So realistically, hitting the goal of this, which it gives you a block of diamond, would help you on this progression here. Now, these structure panels are decently high in resources as well. The biggest thing are going to be these iron bars, but luckily you get 16 per. So that right there, 1 craft of iron bars will yield you 4 of those, but now you obviously have to keep in mind you need 20. So a lot of resources, and then you need, what, 24 of these structure frames, tier 1, which you need Lithorite crystals for, another interconnect, which is not too hard to do. You just need these connectors, more of these connectors, and black concrete or a modifier component, which you could do with a block of iron. But really, your best bet on that front would to just be using the black concrete. And I've heard it's actually pretty straightforward to make. You can actually just place it in water and get it. So yeah, that's really straightforward to make. So I'm actually going to bookmark that as well, so that we have it to be able to utilize here, and then more iron and stuff like that. So I haven't done all the math on what all we necessarily need for the components, like in total, how much iron, how much redstone, so on and so forth, but I can tell you for a fact we're probably not there yet. I mean, we're sitting at only 48 iron, we have 60 redstone and only 11 diamonds. So we're gonna get going into it, but there's no guarantees on how far we'll get into it. But actually, you know what? Before we jump too far or too heavy into things, there was something else I wanted to do just at the start of the episode because I felt like it would be kind of cool to do. So getting a battle axe up and going would be pretty nifty, especially for fighting off a lot of the mobs that we encounter. Now, we do have our all-in-one obsidian, which does do decent attack, but it never feels like it's doing true attack. And especially because it is an all-in-one, I'd much rather use it for mining and excavating and things like that rather than actual combat. So I'm thinking, let's start on this path here, because under the tiny progressions, there's a nice little area for these battle axes, and they seem relatively cool. So you can start with a wooden one. Making a wooden one is pretty straightforward. Let me actually hop over to our crafting table here, and we should be able to get one up and going. So we have our first wooden battle axe, and we can actually keep it up there for the time being, because I'd like to progress a little bit more and get some of the different ones. Because as you move up the up to the different materials, it increases its attack damage. So the base one is 7. We jumped up to 9. If we jump up to iron, it still is 9, but you have 2.8. Actually, the iron is exactly the same, so it's almost not worth it. The only thing that's different is the durability. That's all that you're getting differently on that one, which is a little bit of a bummer, but we could collect the rewards on this. So a little bit of money and a hunter's crate, and then we get another hunter's crate and some more money. Now let's see, does the diamond or the gold, I'm guessing the gold won't have anything better, but you don't get anything additional from that. Actually, these bottom ones, you don't really get anything from. You just get monetary values from any of those ones down there. So let's take a look at this emerald one. That'll actually bump us up to 11 and have a extremely high durability on it. And if we look at this one, yeah, the emerald one actually is almost looking like the way to go here. So let's actually bump up to that one. We're unfortunately going to have to use a little bit of iron for this, but it's okay. I'm sure that we'll be able to make do with getting more iron. So we'll get an iron battle axe going, and I'm going to again place these on the wall. I think they kind of look cool to just place around everywhere. And then we're going to need 4 emeralds, which I'm guessing we're going to use emeralds a decent amount down the line, but for getting going, I don't really think that we're going to be needing them right away. So we'll get some more money and our another crate there, and then we are going to bookmark this emerald battle axe and get one of those bad boys going, and now we have that, which is perfect. This thing should hopefully do a decent amount of damage. Is there any mobs out here we could just give this a little go on? I don't see any. I mean, we have some squids over there that we could utilize as our test dummies, unfortunately. So if we go from our all-in-one obsidian tool here and we come over here, it's about a 2-hit kill on a squid with that. And we're going to take our emerald boy here, and it is still a 2-hit, but it definitely did a lot more initial damage than our all-in-one did. That is definitely for sure there. So we do have some gravel here that I do want to grab, actually, because we'll definitely be needing more gravel to sift through relatively shortly. So we'll just grab some of that. We have some dirt here that I'll fill in some of these holes with, because I'm never a fan of that look where the water is just you know, passing by an opening behind it. So but yeah, so I think having this emerald battle axe will be pretty cool. It has a decent amount of durability, and ultimately down the line I'm sure it's going to help us, especially when those frogs come back and keep attacking us. But anyway, now we're going to switch back gears and get into doing our environmental tech items here. So first and foremost, we need to get more Lithorite crystal up and going. Now we're going to need some more lime dye, and we're going to need our diamonds. So realistically, let's just grab all of our diamonds because we know we're going to need them. We're going to need some more bone meal because we are going to have to combine it with our cactus greens. I am actually going to open up our hunter's caches here and just see what we get. Nothing too crazy. We did get an arrow of levitation, which seems kind of cool. We did get a silver sword, which doesn't have that great of damage. And then we got a gourmet pork patty. Interesting. We'll have to add it to our food storage down in our kitchen. But anywho, so you guys may be wondering, because I didn't really explain it, but off camera, I did go out and did some exploration. So if I pull up my map here, I went all out this way. I actually found these huge ships over here, which are really cool. They're pirate ships that are up in the air. But I also did find some cactuses out this way, down here, and then up here. And that is how I have some cactuses going. So I highly recommend going out in your world and finding some cactuses. There are other ways to get your cactuses up and going, from seeds or different ways like that. But realistically, going out, doing a little bit of adventuring is probably your best bet. And then bring some back and just plant some around your base, because it'll keep growing and it's a good source to get them, so you don't have to continually go out and try to find new cactuses. So that's how I got my cactuses. On top of that, we do need bone meal, and bone meal can come from a whole plethora of different items, especially because we have this fossils and archaeology revival mod in this pack. So all of these items will give you bone meal, and if we take a peek here, down here, so these skull blocks will, I believe maybe this relic scrap will, no, those relic scraps I think are used for something different. But yeah, those skull blocks will, these leg bones and different miscellaneous bones from skeletons will, and then obviously your normal bones will as well. And that just comes from those different archaeologist blocks that you can find when mining. Now I don't think I have any in clear sight right here. Actually I do, right up there, those ones right there where they have a weird additional texture to them, those are the blocks that you want to look for. They are a decent source of bone meal, or bones I should say, if you are in a pinch to get some and you don't really have the availability to take out, let's say, you know, different skeletons and so on and so forth. Let's sleep through the night here, and then we're going to get crafting on some of our Lithorite. So we need to take our bones, get a little bit more bone meal here. Now the nice thing here is that you will get 2 of these per, so 2 lime green per 1 combination. So I'm going to craft up 6 to start with, because that'll give us an even amount, and we can put all of those in there. Actually, let's shift and click and see how many we're going to get. So we're going to get 3 in total, and that's just limited by our dyes there. So that's going to give us 12 Lithorite, which really should have completed our quest. Let's go to our environmental tech tab here. 75% complete. Oh, because you have to have all of them on your inventory. And unfortunately for us, we already used one of them, which is a bit of a bummer. But that's okay. I mean, that's what they're there for, to use them. And I had used it to craft up this digital guide. And I guess I should go over that as well. I know it's a little bit scatterbrained right now, but let's go over the digital guide. So to craft the digital guide, you just need a book and a Lithorite crystal. To get a book, I had been recommended that you could get some from those archaeologist blocks. There's a chance to possibly get a book. But I had no luck. I explored a couple different deposits of those fossils, and I couldn't find a book. And I don't know, maybe things are just changed for the mod pack. I'm not 100% sure. But I just defaulted back to using rice to make paper, and then using that paper with a string or a twine to make a book. And then combining that with a Lithorite crystal will get you this digital guide. So if we hop in here, we can go home, and it'll give you all the different information around environmental tech. Now, it's not super in-depth, so I definitely would recommend still using internet resources, different videos, and so on and so forth to help you be guided through this. But it does offer a decent amount of information still at an easily accessible place, just being right here in the pack itself. So it'll go over the tiered crystals, the structure blocks. You can go over the different types of miners, void, ore miner, the botanic one, which will give you different plants and so on. The solar arrays, the resource miners, which are kind of cool, and so on. They also have modifiers, which is cool, and then the assembler, which is the primary tool for assembling multi-block machines. And in our progression, it's actually something that we'll eventually get to. So it's actually not nighttime just yet. I thought it was, but it is not. I guess we can start to get crafting on some of the other items then. So we'll definitely need 2 of these clear lenses, so we're going to need some glass up and going here. Now I do have 10 things of glass, but we're really going to want to have some more going. So let's go over here. I'm going to throw that in there. We do actually have 1 more cactus green on us, which is perfect. I'm going to come down here, grab some of this low-grade charcoal, which honestly is one of the best things to get up and going right away, is a way to get that low-grade charcoal. What happened to our cactus? Did it just disappear? Yeah, our cactus just disappeared. What the heck? Where did it go? Well, you guys all saw that. For some reason, our cactus just up and disappeared. Has this one grown? This one has grown. Let's see if we can get this one back. Okay, that one definitely fell down in the water there. Alright, so we at least got one. That's why I recommend definitely having these up and about in your base, so you can easily have them growing. But yeah, I'll definitely get this little simple automation up and going to get low-grade charcoal, because then you can turn it into normal charcoal, and then you don't have to use coal as a source of fuel. You can just use charcoal, which is awesome. It's way more effective to use the charcoal, at least in my opinion. So we'll get some of that going. We will try to craft up a lens right off the bat here, so we have our clear lens. And I'm actually going to, do I have a chest, an extra chest sitting around? I have the sky stone chest. We could put it here for the time being. And I'm just going to put all of our things together. This is going to be our chest progression towards environmental tech. I know it's not a very fancy name, but I think it'll at least get us started there. So the next thing that we could do is trying to get some of this black concrete up and going. So we just need a little bit of this powder, which shouldn't be too hard to make. We just need some sand and black dye, which we definitely have sitting in here. We got some sand, we have some gravel on us, and then we just need some black dye, which we should have. We do have these ink sacs, which should work the same if I'm not mistaken, and we have a normal black dye as well. So let's try this. It's going to default to that, but I'd rather use this up if I'm not lying. So we'll do that. We'll get 8 possibilities for black concrete there. I'm just going to stick some of that away just like so. We should have enough glass now to craft up our other lens. Just like so. And I'm going to take those back. Cool. So we got those both checked off of our list. I'm going to go out here and try out this black concrete powder and see how it works. Supposedly you can just place it in water. Yep, you can. That's awesome. And then you could just use vein miner, I'm guessing, to get it all up. Yes, that's awesome. That's really, really convenient that you can just do it like that and you don't have to use any kind of cauldron or anything like that. So that gave us 8 things of black concrete, which is perfect. So we don't need that on there anymore. We definitely don't need that. I definitely just accidentally clicked off of an additional item that we definitely need. And what was that? I think it was these, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, those bad boys. So we're going to need to get 2 of those, and we're going to need a lot of these connector rods. So let's get all of our iron and all of our redstone, because we're going to need them. And we're going to get these. So that'll give us 4 just to start with. And then we can get a laser core up and going, which is perfect. That's another progression right there. So we can knock the laser core off of our list. We can knock the clear lens off of our list. And we are moving along fairly quickly here. What is next? So we can do our interconnect. We do need some more of those. And I believe we're going to need 3 of them in general. So we actually might have to make a little bit more black concrete, which is perfectly fine. We can definitely do that. We'll get a couple more of these, and then we will get 2 of these to start with. And I'm actually going to have to craft up just a couple more of these bad boys to get that going. Cool. So we have 2 interconnects, which is awesome. I'll put those down there, and then we're going to need one of those down there, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yep. So those. We do need our block of diamond. We do need a diode, which actually should not be too hard to make. Let's just grab a little bit more glass to have it, because I'm guessing we're going to need it. The diode, perfect. Adding that to the mix as well. And then the last things we're going to need are just these Lithorite blocks, and then a block of diamond, which is not too shabby to get. Now moving right along, we are going to need structural panels, and we're going to need this these structure frame tier 1s. Now if we take a look at the structure frame tier 1s, how many do we need in order to get things going? We need 24 of those. 24 of these bad boys, which means we're going to need 24 of these interconnects, which is starting to add up quite a bit. So why don't I do a little bit of more crafting, and we'll just see where we get, and I'll bring you guys back once we get to a good point. So guys, I've been doing a little bit of work here, and really what's holding us up is getting a lot of our cactus or our green dye in general, along with obviously some other resources as well, but at least to get some of the quests wrapped up, it's getting some of this Lithorite, which is the green dye that we really need for it. So I was talking on doing cactuses earlier in this episode, but the other thing that you could do to get green dye is using green coral. And green coral is definitely a lot easier to get than cactuses, especially because you can find it right here in these reefs. So if you come down here, you can find these bad boys like so, and you just take them out, and they'll give you several pieces of green coral, which you can then use as green dye, just like how the cactuses can be. So that's actually probably a little bit more convenient for most. I do personally still like going out and doing the exploration to find a cactus, and I'm sure cactuses will have their use in other things down the line as well. But if you were wondering, that is a great way to get the green dye that you need for this. So if we come in here, we still can't do it because we need some green dye or some lime dye. So if we take this like that, and we can get 6 more of those, and then we should be able to get more. What are we missing out on here? I think that it's just, yeah, there we go. We can get even more. So we're up to 27 of those. And I think, what are we missing? We're just missing the lime dye, actually. So we could just do those. just like that. And then we could make one more. And now we're just missing our green dye, which is not bad. So that does complete our quest for it. So we do get some rewards, our block of diamond and some money. And it actually opens up a hidden progression, which is the Erodium crystal, which would be then the next tier. So we're going to hold on to this block of diamond because that's going to be used for our void ore miner. And then what I'm going to do is, I believe it's a 9. Yep, it's 9. And we don't just have enough. We're super close. We just need a little bit more. So let's grab a little bit more of that coral. Grab a couple more of these crystals. And then we should, at the very least, be able to get the main piece of the miner done today. And I think getting to that goal will be perfectly fine for this episode. And then hopefully, within the next episode or two, we'll get all of the other necessary resources to get the multi-block structure up and going. Because really, that's going to take a bulk of the resources. Putting all of that iron and all of that redstone into getting those various things. We also need to get some more black concrete up and going as well. Alright, so we can take these bad boys off. We should have everything to get 4 more. And then, unfortunately, we do need to do just one more. Well, we're actually going to have to do a lot more. So let's just throw a bunch of that on there so we have it. And we'll just craft up as much as we can with the diamonds that we do have available to us. And then we'll just take these like so. Get another block. And now we have everything that we need. So I'm going to throw some of these materials in here that we'll need down the line. Like these connectors, this Lithorite and the redstone I'll throw in there. I'm just going to try to move things for the time being so that we can grab all of these items there. And we should be able to get our void ore miner controller tier 1. Just like so. Perfect. So we're slowly but surely getting through everything. Really, the last 2 things that we're going to need are these structure frames and panels, which really are just going to be a hog of other resources like ores. This one, the structure frames are definitely going to be a decent amount. I think we need 20 of these. Let's see how much lapis we have. We definitely have enough lapis for it, which is good. But we definitely don't have enough iron for it. We're definitely going to need more iron. We're definitely going to need more Lithorite, which means more diamonds because we don't have any diamonds left. So we're going to have to do a little bit of sifting, which is perfectly fine. We definitely can get some sifting done between episodes. But guys, we're going to end everything off there. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode. I know it's nothing crazy, but I think it was still a good progression in the right direction for where we want to head with things. If you did enjoy this episode, feel free to leave a like down below, or better yet, leave me a comment. I love reading through all your different comments. If you're new to the channel, you want to follow along, hit that subscribe button and bell notification to let you know every single time a new episode is posted to the channel. I do stream over on Twitch. I have that linked in the description along with my schedule. I also have my Discord link down there. That is where you can find any updates if something is to change, like I'm not posting an episode, we're switching up a schedule, or if I am maybe going live on Twitch at a different time than normal. You can find all of that in our Discord. You can also check out the Discord for this mod pack. Like I said, they have their server up and running, so if you want to go play with some other people on a server, feel free to check that out. But other than that, guys, thank you for sticking through till the end of the episode. I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks. Bye.